Hello all, and welcome to the continuation of the creation of a vase by using the graph mapper. So what we're going to do now, once that we have created the main shape, that as we already explained, we can change different parameters and manipulate the graph mapper. Now what we're going to do is create that spin that we can see here. Once we create that spin also with the graph mapper, we're going to create or we're going to make it, as we can see, it has like texture. So some of the lines that go vertically along this shape go inside or go to the inner part of the vase, and the other ones go to the outer part. That's what gives it that kind of texture. Okay, and we're going to create those things with the graph mapper. So the first thing that we're going to do is create that spin. And to create that spin, I'm going to drag our algorithm a bit further right. We are not going to use the loft for now because we still need to create the spin. I'm going to show up, or I'm going to put the preview of the circles that give the shape to the object. And now what we're going to do is divide each of those circles and create lines or vertical lines that go connecting those divisions of each circle. So what we need is another divide curve, the same what that we use at the beginning of our algorithm, divide curve. Okay, and those points that we can see there are the divisions of each curve, and we remember that we can control the number of divisions of each curve by creating a slider and connecting it to the count of this component. So I'm going to create a slider that's going to go from 10 to maybe 50, and I'm going to connect it to the count. And as we drag that slider, we can see that we have more or less divisions on each of those circles. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do to visualize that spin is create lines that are connecting each of those points. So I'm going to hide the circles so we can keep going with the points. And what we're going to do is there is a component called interpolate. That what it does, it creates a curve connecting points. Okay, and that curve can have a degree or a continuity or another one. By default, it has continuity of 3, and we're going to leave it as it is. And what happens if we connect this to the vertices, okay, is that we are going to have those points. I'm going to turn this off. And what it's doing, okay, it's connecting each of those points horizontally. And why is that? To explain that, I'm going to get a panel. So we can see what's coming out from that divide curve component. Okay. So what we have here is what it's called in Grasshopper a tree. A tree is a list of lists. Okay. So why do we have a list of lists? Each of these lists, okay, is or represents each circle, okay, each horizontal circle, and what it's inside of each of those lists are the divisions of the divide curve. So if we change this number here, the amount of branches on those lists, sorry, the amount of, let's call them items on those lists, okay, is gonna it's gonna add up, okay, or it's gonna change. So what we need to do, or what happens when we connect the interpolate, okay, is that it is connecting each of those items to each other. So from the first branch, which is the first list, is connecting the 0 to 1, the 1 to 2, the 2 to 3, the 3 to 4, the 2 to, and so on until it reaches 9. And this is what we are seeing here. What we would need is those items to be connected vertically, which would be 0 from the first list to 0 from the second list, to 0 from the third list, and so on. And then 1 from the first list, 1 from the second list, and so on. Okay? So for us to do that, or to manipulate that tree, we can see that this cable or this wire, it's uncontinued, so that means it has a tree. So what we're going to do is change the number of branches, or we are going to, actually I'm going to show you this component here that it's called the param viewer, and it's an easier way to see what the tree is composed by. So it says it has 15 branches, which is those 15 circles, and each of those branches has 10 items, okay, which is the length of each of those lists. Okay, so what we need now is have 10 branches with 15 items each. That's what's gonna create or give us the the vertical lines. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use a component that is here on sets, and here on the right on sets we have all the items to manipulate the trees, and we have this one that is called flip matrix. I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna put it here, and what this does, okay, I'm gonna put this here, then I'm gonna copy and paste this here, and I'm gonna connect it to the output of the flip matrix. And what we have here is what we were saying, we have now 10 branches with 15 items each. So if I connect the output of the flip matrix to the interpolate, then we have our vertical lines. They are being connected as we wanted them to. Okay, now what we have to do is create that spin that we were saying. I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna delete this. So what we want to spin, it's those points right here. Those points, what we want to spin are the circles, okay, that give the shape. And then when we create those points, they're going to be already spinned, okay. So we're saying that we're going to spin it with the graph mapper. Okay, but before that, we need a component to spin them. So I'm gonna double click here, and there's a component called rotate, and we have different kind of rotations that we can create depending on what we have or what we need. And I'm gonna use this one that it's purely rotate, and what it does is just rotates a geometry. We can give them an angle, and we can tell them on which plane we want to rotate them. By default, it's already rotating on X and Y plane, which for us is perfect. The geometry we want to rotate are these circles. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to move this here. And now the angle that we want to rotate it, okay, it has already a default that it's in radians. So I'm going to right click there and I'm going to change it to degrees. Okay, because for me it's easier to work with degrees instead of radians. So if I connect a slider there, I'm going to create a slider that goes from 0 until, let's say, 360. And then I'm going to connect this to the points. And I'm going to move this. We can see what we're doing, what we're rotating are those circles, okay? And then as we spin them, the points of each curve are spinning with them. Okay, I'm going to hide this. Okay, and then if I drag, I'll show you again. If I drag this here, we can see it's spinning. Okay, so what we need, instead of a slider connected to the rotate component, is this the graph mapper with all this small algorithm that we used here. Okay, and what we're gonna do is copy this without the range, because the range is gonna be the same for us, I mean for this part. So I'm gonna copy this. And I'm gonna put it here. Actually, I can make it a group so we have it much more organized. And yeah, I'm gonna move this further right. And now I'm gonna connect this to the geometry. Keep in mind that we're using the same values that we have on the circles, sorry, on the angle. To connect it to the angle. Okay, we haven't changed anything of this yet, but what I want is to start this domain. I want it slightly different from the other one that we have. So I'm going to delete this so it starts from 0. And then the domain end depends on how much spin I want to give it. I'm going to change that slider. I'm going to make it to 300 up until 360. And the minimum is going to be 0. Okay, and then I'm going to change the map. And you can see that as I change that map, I change the rotation or the shape of our object. Okay, and as I change the higher boundary of our remap numbers, I can change how much that spins. Okay, also as we said before, now we can change the amount of divisions that we have here. Okay, and we can put more or less. And we can change what we explained on the first video of this part, to change the shape, the main shape of the object. So the next thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another video to explain how we are going to scale those lines, okay, in order to create that shape, okay, that it has one line goes inside and the other one goes outside. And we're going to use the graph mapper to make sure that here they are aligned, okay, so there's continuity in this shape, in this surface. Okay. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.